33.
Even now. There we are. PKN 433. Took a bit for the show to start.
Woody, your first thing I noticed, your hair is looking like Sunday Best version.
I just got out of the shower.
Oh.
It was like 5:45 in college.
I would look my best for Uncle Sam.
And I'm like, fuck, I have to work in like seconds from now. So
I imagined you being like, I got a meeting with Uncle Sam today. I want to look my best.
I gotta go look good in the voting booth. I saw someone post a funny post online where they're like, well, I went in the voting booth and then I came out with my cup of urine and everyone was mad. And like, I was like, that's very funny. That's
Did you vote, Taylor?
Yeah, yesterday. Very glad I did it yesterday because it was. I thought I was being like smart because we've had like 2 straight days of torrential rain and flooding, and it really started kicking off yesterday late morning, early afternoon. And I was like, I know a lot of the line is outdoors. If I go now, rain time, I'm gonna get in, quick. That was not the case. I stood in the rain for 50 minutes, and you know how there's that meme where it's like, I don't want to use a umbrella, that's gay. I felt like the gay one. Everyone had umbrellas but me.
Oh yeah. Dude, it is the fucking gayest thing to be worried that people think you're gay over regular stuff. That Gavin McGinnis guy, I think he said umbrellas were gay. Dude, you're fucking faggot for thinking that umbrellas are gay.
Hell yeah.
Jesse Walters, or I think that's his name, Jesse Waters. He said drinking from a straw is gay. Dude, if you're so insecure that you can't drink from a straw, or eating ice cream, that's what Tucker Carlson said that was gay.
That's gay,
dude. You people worry about the most mundane
how you
shit.
Do these
saying
things.
You're too gay. I honestly
Straws
feel like
it's all about nuance, Taylor.
It exposes
you got to understand, Taylor.
Weakness.
The guy was stroking the straw.
Like, it's the pussies who worry about looking like a pussy. The actual guys who are self-confident don't worry about drinking.
I never heard the straw thing.
It was a silly straw.
I have sensitive baby teeth, and so I need my straw for my ice cold soda. I hate glugging it. I need my straw, and I need it to be plastic. I need it to be, petroleum based. But anyway, I stood for 50 minutes in the rain, and then I got in there, and they gave you the ballot and everything. I live in one of the sane states, so I gave my ID, proved I was a citizen. They gave me my paper, and then I was so wet. Like I was sitting on like the corner of this little white table with those those anti-cheat sheet things that they had in school. A bunch of those were up, and I thought that was so interesting. It's like nobody's going to cheat. But then I was like, oh, it's probably for privacy. Maybe some people don't care. But I mean, I wasn't looking at anybody else's ballot. And so I started
imagine a husband doing that to his wife.
I finished the whole thing. I go turn it in, and it like sticks in the machine. Like it got halfway in, and like 2 alerts came up. It's like, warning, discrepancy with Amendment 3 and Proposition who gives a shit. And there's this little lady who was the organizer of this little station. And I was like, okay, so like, what does this mean? And she's like, oh, it probably means like part of your ballot got wet. Yeah, it's coming back out now. I can see, because I was literally sopping wet, like I'd gone camping. And so a couple different options got wet.
You got your ballot wet.
And I was like, okay, so it says at the bottom, just proceed. Is this the kind of proceed that means like $1 not going in the vending machine where all the date, like it's still going to be fine? Or is it like, I need to do a new piece of paper? And she was like, well, no, it'll count the votes. And I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, well, it just won't count these ones. And I'm like, well, can I just get another piece of paper then, please? I'll roll my sleeves up. And so I went and I got another piece of paper, had to fill it out a second time, like holding my arm way over the side so I didn't drip. And then I was able to vote like an American. Turn down the sticker. I'm not a braggart. I'm a humble man.
I rock this sticker. I so rock this sticker.
Forced that onto Woody.
I took a shower and transferred the sticker to my next shirt.
You were just making fun of people for straws. That's pretty fucking gay.
But I'm fine.
I should have gotten a sticker from somewhere.
See, that's confidence.
I just realized I wish I had like 8 stickers. And I was just like
from like different counties, just all like it's a bumper.
Different designs. Yeah, they're all completely different. Like one of them's that wolf or whatever, that bear, that werewolf or whatever that kid made.
And you know what's a big problem? It's apparently all of these polling places, they give you the worst pens on earth. These pens are designed to work for exactly the amount of time it takes to fill out one ballot. They are trash. The one I picked up fell apart as I picked it up. I had to pick a different one.
Dude, you got to move to a first world state. I walked in. Do you know how long the line was? There was no line. They had enough people to handle everyone who came as they came. I immediately give them my ID. They give me my little ballot. I go to the next station. I fill my stuff out. It was no problem.
Are you
at
in a
all.
large county?
It's just because it's really busy here.
Yes.
Yeah, we're in a pretty large county as well.
This is Raleigh. I live in this. It's in
Yeah.
the city of Raleigh, and
Missouri rules. Beat the pants off
like it.
NC. Yeah, it's because everyone's here so passionate. Everybody's
like cracking a Miller Lite.
Dude, when you vote in Missouri, it's like audible. Everyone around you is like, hope he can pull it out this time, bro. Like literally, that's what voting in Missouri is. Yeah, like pretty much everyone in my area seemed to be going that way. There was this one business sounding lady in front of me who talked.
Wait, what do you mean that way? Hope we can pull it out. They're going that way. Which way? I assume they're all Republicans.
Hoping that he can pull it out, meaning Trump. Like they're like doing their little wish casting. Like I hope this time might be the ticket. But yeah, it seemed that way. Like this woman next to me, this like mother of 4 or whatever. She was like a bit older than me, and that was a little depressing. I'm like, man, these people have their fucking lives together. They have kids. I don't have any fucking kids. And then she's like talking to me the whole time about like how much she wants to vote for Trump, and I'm like, that's great. We're not going to be friends or anything. So maybe we just stand in the rain. Do you see how wet I am? I had the guy behind me. I had a 6'7" tall guy in a Chiefs hat and the biggest umbrella you've ever seen. 3 people behind me. And I have my giant Coke bottle glasses soaked in water. And he's like, get a load of this guy, should have brought an umbrella. And I'm like, you got me. So I'm just, meanwhile, I'm like, I'm going to vote for fucking Harris. You bitch. It really wasn't that big a deal. My friends who went today were texting.
You didn't let him know that umbrellas are for gays?
No.
So wait a minute.
I was the
line's longer today?
Yeah, it's apparently very, very long today.
That sucks. Like it should be easy to vote. It should be pretty convenient. That's why I don't like voting on one day. There should be weeks to get this done.
Early is fine. It's just like you should have to give a fuck enough to not mail it in. Like go in person, participate, and
I think it should be convenient, easy. I think voter participation rate should be high and secure. I'm not saying it should be unsecured. It shouldn't be I don't know. It should be secure
everywhere. That's
say it again.
Like they just need to do the ID thing everywhere. Like
I don't understand why the ID thing is such an issue. Like I've heard it's like racist. Dude, all my black friends have IDs. I don't know.
Everybody knows.
Oh la da.
Yeah, like who doesn't have IDs? That's wild to me. But apparently IDs hurt Democrats for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's because
voting participation hurts Republicans. So they're always trying to make it more restrictive, not vote on weekends, only vote on one day, reduce
make it a national holiday.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a day off. That's popular.
I do like the idea of a day off, especially it's one day every 2 years.
Yeah,
Relax.
for sure.
And I interject here. The day off won't work.
Why?
We're all planning vacations on that day. You give us a day off, especially you make it a 3-day weekend.
No, dude, it's a Tuesday. You can't plan a whole it's a Tuesday off.
Oh, then maybe I take Monday off. You're already giving me voter day off. I can make a 4-day weekend, Taylor.
Dude, if that's the biggest problem, that people are getting nice little weekend vacays out of it, I'm willing to abide that.
I don't know. It'll be the people with jobs taking the 4-day. It'll be the hardest of workers who take the 4-day weekends. They're like, I can't take it anymore. I'm not.
Dude, I've said before, I'm in favor of as many federal holidays as they'll fire out of their guns. Just
every day should be some kind of a federal holiday.
Not all. You need.
That's why I'm part Jewish.
Still needs to be special. Yeah, dude, the Jews figured it out. They're like, do you think they'll fall for this one? Meshuggah good.
I'm always celebrating
sacred holiday, and it's actually all of June.
Christmas is 8 days for some reason.
Yeah, they did it right. They have all the
voting should be convenient, easy. Participation rate should be higher. And
I don't know. See, I used to think that it should be mandatory because I thought, like, I don't care.
How would you do?
I just thought that it should be like paying your taxes is mandatory, and if you don't, they come get you eventually. Like, why not make paying your or voting the same thing? It's like, did you vote, dude? You better. They're going to send you a ticket in the mail. Like you don't
want the kind of people voting who it has to be compulsory to make them to vote. Like,
that's
what if you got a $3 discount on your taxes for voting?
$3?
Give me do better than that.
More than that.
Really? How much should I pay you to vote?
Nothing.
Literally, how much
nothing.
should I
It could be,
Wait, it needs to be
you're
better
paying
than
them with
3,
their
but it
own
needs
money.
to be worse than 3 simultaneously.
No, you shouldn't, like, the goal of voting in democracy shouldn't be to have the most total amount of votes. You could achieve that just by like harvesting homeless people's votes. It's like it should be good people voting, like people who care enough and give a fuck enough to go out and do it. Like it
should
Those
also
are the
be
true
easy. I
forgotten
hate that you
Americans.
stood 50 minutes in the rain to vote.
That
is a legit obstacle to democracy. Voter participation. Now it's Missouri, but so you guys are going red either way. That was my point with that.
Yeah.
But I see, for example, these 7-hour lines in the Georgia Atlanta area, and it's like this seems designed to suppress turnout. It is, right? And then you get people like me, that's wealthy people. But fuck, we just waltz right in. They got a DJ out there playing music.
I imagine you literally walk with Jackie, like as you go.
They hired a DJ, so in theory, if there was a line, it'd be more pleasant, but there was none. And
did you go today?
Right in. I'm sorry. Yeah, I went today.
Okay.
Around lunchtime, and I just walk in, I vote, I leave. Took no time at all. The 3 of us voted, Jackie, Colin, and I.
Nice.
And that was that.
Maybe I just had bad luck. But that doesn't seem to be the thing because a lot of people here are saying there's long lines everywhere. It could just be that people are turning out in super high numbers for Trump because we're a really red state and nobody hears stuff.
Could be both.
4 years.
So
it could be a combination.
So it's like I said the other day. I know it sounded foolish, but I was like, it's gonna be 1 or 2 outcomes.
Yeah,
but
whoa, Copernicus,
the bravery he put on.
But I guess what I was trying to say was that if Trump wins, it's because they turned out for him. It's because he won. He won white women again somehow. But if Harris wins,
he's won white women every time, just not all women.
That's what I just said.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah. I'm saying this time he might not. I'm wondering how big of an issue the abortion thing is, and it's just like I don't know if I believe any of the polling I ever see, but I just remember seeing so many women saw the Roe v. Wade thing is like a big reason to go vote. Like they were making fun of it. That was the meme. Was like, look, this is all they care about. There's like 80% of them saw it as the most important.
A lot of
issue.
good arguments in there.
Well, they've got the right to vote. So, so I was saying if Harris is going to win, it means that women really turned out, which then sounds to me like a Harris landslide. Like sounds like a Harris like they're going to win some states they shouldn't have, or we didn't think they would. Maybe. I wonder how North Carolina and Virginia, how those states are going to go.
Virginia for sure.
Virginia's usually been blue for a while. My little news ecosystem has turned around. So it's an insulting term, but the Democrats have been bedwetting this entire time. So they led for most of the race until most very recently. And even though they're like, I'll take 538, was giving Harris 54 times out of 100, the Democrats are scared and the Republicans are confident with the 46. It's just a different vibe. Trump's telling, we're way ahead in the polls. Don't believe all the polls that don't have me ahead. Only believe the polls that have me ahead. That was the Trump thing. The Democrats are like, oh my God, this is way too close. I'm not comfortable. Until the last week, the Democrats have been like just snorting all that hopium, coming out with great news. The polls have swung in her direction, barely. It's been tied the whole way. But they're filling me with this probably false confidence. Like Harris has this. We'll see. What'd you say?
It's coin flip. It's coin flip, man. And we could flip the coin right now, and it would be just as accurate as the most intelligent, well-informed
Nate Silver's final model. The most expensive coin flip model of all time. Like the absolute gall to be like, I'm the most professional pollster. I aggregate all of these and I weight them as I see fit within my proprietary aggregation system. Mm-hmm. And then like I saw for weeks, people are like, everybody's all up on Nate Silver. Just wait. The day of the election, he's going to say it's Harris 50.1% and Trump, 49.9%. And it was like it was flipped the other way, but it was like within 0.8%. And it's like, what is even the point of following someone who's never
538 has the same thing but inverse. They have Harris winning 50 times out of 100 and Trump winning 49 times out of 100.
Yeah,
and that's one of the things. So I watch both liberal and conservative news, too much of it. And the liberal news is saying that the pollsters have been scared to take a stance, that they call it herding. They all just go together and come up with the same results. You know, the people say what they say, and then when they massage the data, they say toss up. They've been doing it the whole time. And they think that it's not the toss up the pollsters said it was. The pollsters just lack courage. I don't know.
No, I could see that. Like, their entire identity rests on them being like having some predictive value in their, you know, in their equations and whatnot. If not, what are they doing here? And so, like, guessing it close to 50-50, you know, it could be, you know, it just happened that way, but it also could be like these are pollsters whose primary goal, more than getting it correct, is ensuring that they're still relevant next time this comes around. Like, it's their job. And so when you set it that close, 49-51 or whatever, you can, after the fact, be like, oh, you know, my model was actually like 98% there. It's just I under weighted this group, and when I accurately weight this group with the, you know, hindsight being 20/20, suddenly my model makes more sense. And it's like, well, then of what use was your model? Like,
I follow the most brilliant pollster on YouTube. He said, look, it's going to be one of two outcomes.
Yeah.
And
Kyle Myers.
I mean, if I had to guess, I would definitely guess
The Stanley Cup's going to be one of 32 things this year.
He's got it.
It feels very Harris right now, like at this moment. And I haven't really touched the waters. I really messed my sleep schedule up like last night. So I slept through the afternoon today. It was one of those times where my phone was dead too. So I couldn't check what time it was when I woke up. So I got all the way downstairs to my stove before I realized I'd slept till 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Now, what made you say that it's looking really Harris to you? Because it is to me, but I always worry that my news feed is biased.
Well, I think timing. I know that timing is the most important thing, at least in our elections. Like, if this election had taken place a few weeks back, I think it would have been such a slam dunk for Trump. And I think there's been times where it would have been a slam dunk for Harris. Even I think there were times where it would have been a slam dunk for Biden if we'd had the election on X day or Y day. Like a week after Trump got shot,
November 6th.
Like if we'd had the election the week after Trump got shot, like I think it would have been nuts. I think he would have really.
That was his highest moment. He wasn't shot, but that was his highest moment.
He didn't get shot though.
He didn't.
Not going to argue
the
that
videos come out since. The bullet didn't hit his ear. What hit his ear was the bodyguard's gun as he like hugged him and brought him down. You can look at the footage.
Just this
that's the thing now. Yeah,
I don't want to argue it.
That's just baffling. Like,
and that's why there's no injury.
It
was just hit by the gun inside the holster.
Joe Rogan
friendly fire.
Show me your ear, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a little mark on there. There's a little scar."
Yeah, but he's saying the mark came from the bodyguard's pistol.
Yeah, I saw it. You could see it. Like I watched a YouTube video where they like replayed it, and they're like, right here, this is the impact where his ear got hit by the bodyguard as he like wrestled him down.
Yeah, I don't care anymore, and I don't care to argue it. But the election's happening tonight.
I like
and
saying
I'm so happy. Yeah. I know you do.
That's just so pedantic. 2 people have tried to kill him, and you're like, "Well, they actually did."
3. It's 3.
Is it 3 now?
Is it 3?
Yeah. They stopped the
I
third
don't
guy.
count the ones where they don't shoot.
Oh.
Like,
well.
Trump tweeted out Obama's address, and they
So Lee
stopped
Harvey
an
Oswald's
assassination
out.
attempt that really never got started. That's what
I'm gonna guess that Obama has the actual Secret Service, not the fucking Mr. Magoo squad bumbling about, tripping and failing. And
I don't know. They're both
a
former
bunch of fucking
presidents.
Pennsylvanians are like, "Hey, there's a guy on the roof with a gun. He's been sighting out," and they're like, "Citizen, that's part of the fucking plan here. Don't you get it? He's supposed to die on TV. That's why they're televising this. That's why they never televise his fucking
dude.
rallies.
I think if JD Vance was leading the, well, maybe I'm crazy.
He wasn't announced yet.
He wasn't. Oh, okay,
No.
you're right.
That's the
My
funny part of the
mistake.
story.
But do a hypothetically. Do you think JD Vance would be better at the top of the ticket? I think he was better in his Rogan interview. I think he was better in the debate. I think he's better in general. But Trump just doesn't appeal to me, and he appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
Next election, like Vance is going to benefit by siphoning off that Trump popularity if he does get elected for 4 years. But I don't think Vance does better without Trump.
I think he disappears if he doesn't win this. If he doesn't
I
win
can't
tonight.
think of a losing VP candidate that went on to do well later.
Oh, I'm sure there have been. We just can't think of them though. Like Biden was a failed politician for decades before he started winning, right?
The longest serving senator ever, youngest
I mean,
senator, and
I'm
old.
I'm talking about the presidency though. Like how many times he ran for presidency several times. I've
he did.
I've seen videos of him withdrawing from the presidential race where he has hair. Like,
oh yeah,
he's a young man. He's like, you know what? It didn't work
him.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did fail at running for president many times. And that, I think, is pretty common. People who don't win on their first try. Trump didn't win on his first try.
Of course not.
But
I mean, Obama gave so much of that popularity to Biden. Like, Biden has gotten by since 2008 as literally no one has been like, Biden, that's my dude. What a great guy. It's literally like, oh, the Obama guy? Okay. Yeah, we'll do the Obama guy. Like that.
I think
Obama is so.
That's a winning VP though, not a losing one. Like I'm looking for the Sarah Palin who turned around and then won at the top.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Vance is really popular in Ohio, isn't he?
I assume.
I doubt it. He's new. He's like a new. He hasn't even been there that long, like 4 or 8 years.
Usually that's when they're more popular before they really expose just fucking politicians.
I guess my main thought was, are there any popular senators? Like, I don't know who my fucking senators are. Like Raphael Warnock, maybe. I think there was that they won during that big blue wave like 4 years ago or something like that took Georgia back. But like nobody knows what they do. Unless you'd have to be so plugged into politics to care about your state senator.
Yeah, I have no idea what my state senator's up to.
Do you even know if it's a man or a woman, or if they're conservative?
Wait,
or
like the federal
liberal?
senator, or just like my state, like all the state.
I do actually mean your representative. Yeah, like your two senators of Missouri,
the federal ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Ann Wagner and Josh Hawley. Right?
Oh yeah, I have no idea. I think it's Raphael Warnock and maybe Stacey
Raphael
Abrams.
Warnock. That's a very Warhammery name. I like that.
Raphael
Warnock. Yeah, North Carolina has 2 Republican senators and a Democratic governor. Yeah, I don't know
who our governor is.
John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, both Democrats here.
John Ossoff.
Oh yeah, that's right. They both won in 20. I think in why can't I say 2020 they won? I think right.
Yeah. I was super happy. At the time, it seemed like that was enough to legalize marijuana, and they might do it. But then 4 years more have passed. That's why I don't care who wins. That's a big part of why I don't care who wins tonight. Is like, I think Harris might actually legalize marijuana federally. She said she would. That'd be sick. And I just don't think she can fuck things up too badly. Biden said that, but Biden's the silly old man. This lady's 50 or something. I like she might mean it, and she's a little black, just a little. Taylor, that means something. Okay. All right. I'm just
that
saying.
Doesn't mean she'll legalize. It means she deals. Jesus God.
Oh, actually, she's also. I think she's very Indian. She's going to own a store.
I'm still in a store. Go from
welcome to Kamala's marijuana dispensary.
Kamala.
We get you change your voice every 2 seconds to try and be authentic, but that is a little. That would be. I think that might. If you could show me a video of Kamala Harris getting in front of like a bunch of Indian women, and she was like, "I am so very excited to be on next place," and changed it the same way she does for black people, she might earn my vote.
I could get on board.
That would be hysterical.
No, I don't. I guess I don't care. I am worried about Trump pulling out of my Ukraine war, which I do think is like all of my
thing you dislike about him.
Yeah,
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. Also, like, look, it's kind of true that he sort of tried to topple our government and all. It seemed like now what I don't think about January 6th is that he was the evil mastermind. What I think is he's just a goober. And he was like, oh, things seem to be falling into place. I think I'll just not say anything and see how this turns out. And it's like, whoa. One of the ways it turns out is like, maybe they kill some senators and you're the president still.
He told people to go peaceful. Do we have to relitigate this again?
We don't, but the
you've fallen for the Trump 2-step though, right?
No, he told people to go peaceful. You've fallen for the media narrative that everything he does is fucking.
I heard every word. I'm up to date. I'm well informed. And he did say peacefully what did he say? Peacefully and patriotically. But he said a lot more than that. And he said a lot more than that leading up to it, and his people organized it, and he didn't bring in. He watched the whole thing unfold while he let the people.
And hold on, just to clarify,
I don't think anything matters.
These people that went and did this crazy insurrection that's so wild, they are the most armed per capita populace on the globe.
You act like because they didn't bring guns, it didn't happen.
Yeah, you think you're trying to paint it as a sincere insurrection to topple the U.S. government, and the most armed populace on planet Earth showed up with flags instead of guns.
No, I'm trying to say that they took over the building so that legislation was delayed, and they wanted it to not happen.
The only person, if that many people wanted to shut something down longer than that, they could have. The only person who was shot was a Trump supporter, an unarmed veteran.
A police officer was mutilated.
No, he was not.
Wait. Pause there. Did you know a police officer lost his eye?
There was barbarism.
Did you know a police officer lost his eye?
How did he lose it?
How did he lose it?
I think they stabbed him with a flagpole, but that part I'm less sure about. You want me to look it up?
This
always happened. You guys changed the topic before I.
I don't want to change the topic. I want to talk about the eyeball.
What's his name?
We're eyeball central now.
Because,
I'm interested.
But I'm curious. In your view, if a police officer in a riot did lose his eyeball, does that make this a legitimate attempt to overthrow the United States government?
I'm looking it up.
Because that's insane. And that's the problem. Like, everyone who looks at that event sees it differently. Because, like, the idea that it was a bunch of marauders with guns going in trying to overthrow the U.S. government is laughable. But the idea that the 100% of them were doing it peacefully, that a lot of right wingers will try and say, is not true. There were a lot of people breaking windows and like stealing lecterns and shit. Or I guess there was one guy stealing a lectern, but
I don't think he got away with it.
Shit. No, he probably went to jail. There's still people in jail over January 6th.
There's people getting sentenced as we speak. The guy who does a voice for Bob's Burgers just got sentenced.
Yeah, high priority stuff.
I don't watch that cartoon.
No, that cartoon.
I don't think it's either of those realities. I think that, so for one thing, there definitely wasn't some sort of planned armed militia to go take down the government that day. That's just not true. But on the other hand, what I do think happened is everybody just kept bumbling their way into sort of a faux insurrection. Like, there was no like Mel Gibson type character on the ground with a flag waving it, follow me. Like, there was no coordination.
Yeah, a lot of people.
It was just a bunch of assholes out there. Now, I am open to the idea that there was like smaller groups of people who had a plan, whether those people were from the federal government, like the FBI out there trying to get people in trouble and set people up, or it was like something like the Proud Boys on the other side who was like through this door. Yeah. I think a little bit of both might have been happening. But like what happened was definitely not chill. And there was definitely a time where Donald Trump could have done something. And we got into a big argument about this on the show. And the something I'm talking about is like tweet. Like, I wish he'd been like blowing up Twitter. I wish he'd been like calling for a press conference right now. Like, if he called, I bet there's a number you call when you want to talk to the media, right? When you want to assemble a press conference. And he's got that number. I wish he'd been like, quick, this doesn't look good. This is bad. And even if it wouldn't have timed out well, so that, because it's not like they're in there watching the simulcast. They're not watching TV. They're poking cops with flagpoles or whatever, which I believe happened.
But I mean, if you say like even in the scenario you've laid out and in all the video evidence, like 99% of the people are not breaking windows and causing problems. And so like what he's supposed to tell everyone to leave. He did tell people to go peacefully.
So the rough video I've seen from January 6th or whatever is on the front line, the crush between the cops and like the protesters on the front line. And those guys aren't meandering. Those guys are like, they're fighting. And like, they're not fighting in that leave me alone.
There's absolutely fighting there for sure. There were some bad apples there.
It looks like the flagpole thing might be right. I keep seeing the officer lost his eye, article after article confirming he lost his eye, but it's always lumped in with like officer lost his eye. Another one was stabbed with a metal fence stake. Another one has broken ribs. 140 officers were injured, and but no one says like he lost his eye because he was poked with this or that.
That guy. You got to say this about Trump supporters.
This is a protester. This isn't the eye thing.
No, this is Jan 6th.
No. I was
Yeah,
looking
but
for. He didn't pull. We're looking for a cop who got his eye knocked out, not a protester guy.
Oh, go back. That wasn't a cop.
No, the guy's in a red hoodie.
No, the red hoodie is the assaulter. We're looking at the guy on the ground.
Oh, on the right. I was looking at where the pole thing was pushing up in his cheekbone there.
Yeah, I'm not
This
sure who
might
the
be
bad guy is in this photo. That police officer seems to be poking this poor man who tripped in the face with a metal pole.
It's just he's just stumbling randomly. Yeah, there's a lot of violent people that we shouldn't welcome back to do that kind of thing.
Like that police officer.
Yes,
Like
That doesn't look like a
officer
regulation
that
police baton.
executed
Where did he
Ashley
get
Babbitt.
that weapon?
Yeah. I mean that's
Back
just
the
like a
rioters.
difference
That's
of-
where we
of
are in this.
Back
vision
the
in this.
rioters.
is
First of all, they're freedom fighters.
yes.
Right. Yeah,
Freedom
they're just
fighters, 100%.
innocent people, wrong place, wrong time, had no idea how this thing was going to unfold. And
Do you really
obeyed
think
the
that there
velvet
weren't people
ropes.
like that? And there were.
See,
like,
that's the thing.
the-
They
the-
always do this.
the
They're like,
rope thing
hey,
is-
do you think anyone there was innocent? Yes, of course there were. Did you notice them following the velvet ropes? Yeah, of course. Some people did. I also saw them smashing in the bulletproof windows with
Yeah.
stolen riot.
So I just want to know.
I
like,
also saw their cop who lost his eye, 140 cops with injuries, people stabbed with metal posts and shit. Like,
dude, the problem is they lied off the start from this thing. They led off with this thing in the Trump articles of impeachment. They said in those, it's in the Library of Congress, they said that Officer Sicknick was killed during the insurrection attempt. That didn't happen.
died the next day, right?
Yeah, died of a stroke
Yeah.
the next day.
So
Didn't die.
that's the thing. They're always like, well, here's some footage of them not killing anyone. Here's some footage of them obeying velvet. Guy in my high school
When you
killed
say
his
this footage
sister.
not
Do you know
killing
how
people,
often
the
he
internet.
didn't kill his sister? Most of his life
Most of
was
the time.
spent not killing his
Hold on. Well, it's
sister.
important to interject.
If you
what you
just
said
do
here's
this,
footage
like-
of them not killing someone. Is there any footage of them killing someone? Because
If you
that
just
implies there
say,
is.
hey, there's some footage of them obeying velvet ropes, therefore it wasn't violent. Nope, it was.
It was a riot. It was absolutely a riot. And there were lots of rioters. What I disagree with is I think that it's fanciful and ridiculous to look at that footage and, in Dick's words, all those fucking Facebook grandmas and a lot of fucking sunglass wearing lunatics. Like, that's not a sincere attempt to overthrow the US government. That's a riot.
It's a riot. Yeah, a riot that Trump loved. He saw happening. They have the forensic footage. They have him watching Fox News clips on Twitter because they have the phone that he had that day. And we know what he was informed. We know that he saw the footage of the rioters taking over the Capitol. And we know that he knew they were being violent. And we know that he didn't do fuck all about it because he liked it.
Yeah. I
That's
think
who
most of
Trump
that's
is.
true.
And that's my biggest issue with Trump. It's really not the policy so much, although some of them are stupid. My biggest issue is Trump isn't a good man. And that badness in his core has ramifications on the way that he would run the country.
Yeah,
Mm.
I understand where you're coming from. If that's like your guiding principles, like you don't think this guy's a good dude, like understandable. I guess I come at it more from like an actual policy perspective, where like one side, at least in this election, 24, turning it back to this, like one side openly wants more censorship. They talk about it as a good thing, as a goal. They want to shut down misinformation, which is whatever the.
I'm glad
ruling
you brought
party
up
decides.
censorship because Donald Trump wants to pull the broadcasting license of ABC, NBC, and CBS and CNN because they air news that's unfavorable to him. Like if you talk about censorship, it gets a hell of a lot worse than being concerned about some Facebook posts like the Democrats.
No,
are.
it's actually no.
It's pulling the broadcasting license of CBS. That's what Trump
He's
goes
not
on the
going to
podium and says he's going to do.
He won't do that. Like, but
now we're
The
hoping
kind of
that he
censorship-
doesn't do what he tells us he'll do. Like we're literally like, you know what? I'm going to sane wash everything he says, and I'm going to assume he means what I wish he meant and not what he told us he meant.
I think it's a way for him to be like, hey, stop repeating obvious nonsense. Like the good Obama just repeated the good people on both sides fucking Nazi lie at a rally 2 days ago. Like, and that gets put
wishing
forward
Trump doesn't
by-
mean what he says he means, and
No,
that's
it's
a
not.
rough spot to be in when
No,
you're
no,
voting for president.
if he's going to be censoring people, I don't like that. But the real impact of censorship that's meaningful is censorship that impacts individuals. People
Really? So you
talk-
think pulling broadcast license for people that don't
he's not going
that are
to do
critical of
that.
Trump?
He can't do that.
But this is what he's running on.
He can't unilaterally do that.
But it's who he is. Like, if he can't do that, then he'll do the best that he can otherwise. He said he was going to ban Muslims, right? But when he found out he couldn't ban by religion, he ended up trying to implement as close as he could by country. So if he finds out that he can't pull CBS's broadcasting license, then what's he going to do like it? Because that's what happened the first time he ran.
You're right. He was already president for 4 years, and he didn't do any of these things. But we did see throughout the past few years with Harris and Biden in control that censorship did increase. Right-wingers got even more deplatformed than usual. The only reason that you're even able to be more right-wing than Ben Shapiro on the entire internet at this point is because Elon bought Twitter. That's it. There's no other way to do it. And so free speech is under attack, and I care much more about the ability of individuals to engage in free speech, independent journalists, people on the ground, American citizens,
like us,
than I do people like us. Our media apparatus
freedom fighters.
Our media apparatus is evil. They knowingly lie. They don't make mistakes that always happen to go serendipitously in the same direction. They lie. And so, yeah, I would like it if there was a higher accountability, at least on broadcast journalism, of like, hey, if you lie openly and it's proven you knowingly lied, like, yeah, maybe you don't.
Like Fox News did?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not drawing lines. That's fine.
I know you're not. And you don't, like, to your credit. When I hear you saying this, you mostly have like the anti-Trump stuff in your heart, but you're fully aware, like, hey, it's bad on both sides. Sure. But it's not the same on both sides. What Fox News did, where they like knowingly pimped these lies so that they wouldn't lose viewers, and ended up paying almost $1 billion for it.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's something that stands outside as an outlier.
Lied about all sorts of things, and so like this idea that it's really not the media lying as much as like it's the censorship I'm concerned with, and. The only platforms that people are allowed to discuss politics nowadays, outside of like a fucking coffee shop, is Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
All the big ones.
That's everywhere, right?
It's everywhere.
A handful of these. And
YouTube's
Reddit,
the only one who's
I mean,
like,
Reddit isn't free speech at all.
Facebook has a hard right-wing slant. Zuckerberg.
That's because of the demographics of Facebook. And and even they get banned for.
And Zuckerberg did not donate $400 million to the Democrats. I looked into that because it was new information to me. I'm like, what is this? That it was wrong. What he did is he donated $400 million to people that like I guess there was this confusion about whether mail-in votes would get sent to where they were going. Mm-hmm. Go fact check it. Look at it. I look up AP, Reuters, the non-biased ones.
I'm listening.
And he made sure that the ballots got there. And then they looked into it and they said, well, did he like make sure that Democratic ballots got there more so than other ones? And no, there was hearings about it.
Yeah, I saw. I don't like election interference either. I see that guy who was burning the ballots, and then Zach was pointing out there's been quite a few bomb threats today in swing states. I don't like that. I'm not sure. I don't know what's right. I have these two like modes that I go into, or two like kinds of opinions. I guess there's like Kyle's opinion, and Kyle's opinion is like selfish world, just serving Kyle, right? Like what would be best for Kyle. But then, and there's opinions I have that are like that. But then sometimes there's opinions. It's like, what is right? Like if I were like, if this were a big ant farm and I were the guy in charge, and they're like, oh, what do you think, boss? Like which switch would I flip? And that guy's often has different opinions than Kyle. You know what I mean?
I aspire to be that second guy. I don't know if I hate it 100%.
By the way, the $400 million was to two distinct nonprofits that it was getting out the vote in Democrat areas.
No, check into that, because he was falsely accused, and they looked into it and found
called the Center for Tech and Civic Life and the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which funnels the money to local officials to assure that everyone can vote and every vote is counted.
And then stand by. It's a nonpartisan organization that helps cities and states ensure that residents could vote regardless of their party preference. It's in full compliance in the law. He didn't donate to Biden. I'm looking for the part. Election officials have said there's no indication of favoritism towards how the money was distributed.
I mean, I would disagree. He openly supported
But what's your
Biden in
source? Because I'm
2020.
looking at the AP News fact check, and I looked at the Reuters.
I'm looking at
too.
the AP News fact check as well, and
Oh, well, then we're looking at the same thing.
he openly said that he supported Biden in 2020. And you think that he gave $400 million in a way that didn't further his political goals?
Conservatives have criticized the donations due to suspicion that the money aided Democrats.
Of course it did.
Then,
He stated he wanted that to happen.
But then they looked into it, and it wasn't true. There's a bipartisan. I'll keep reading. The board for the Center of Tech and Civil Life includes Pam Anderson, a Republican, a former elected clerk of Denver. Republican officials have vouched for the program's impartiality, including Brian Mead, a Republican election director in Ohio. Like, it just goes on and on. You can't find anything that says these were biased donations.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
we can find tons
also
of stuff that says it is not.
We can. Do you really think that he put $400 million into
but now
the
we're into the
political
trust me, bro?
No. It's like no. We can actually look at what actually happened. He depressed stories that harmed Democrats on the largest networking platform at the time on Earth. He did that.
They looked into
it now, and he admits to it now, and he says he
found that it was pro-conservative, and the reason it was that conservatives cried and whined so loudly that the backlash was much greater when you suppress conservative stuff. And I can Google that too. It just always takes 3 minutes, and we move on to something else.
Like the idea that one of the wealthiest billionaires on planet Earth put $500 million after stating publicly that he wanted a certain political outcome, and that was just money he put into the process for the
sake. But you're on Trust Me, Bro fact.
This isn't Trust Me.
I've named 3 Republican election officials who looked into this and said that it was impartial. And you're like, I don't care. I still think.
No. It's about being able to look at patterns and infer using your mind, not having to look at some retard who says something. He donated $400 million to causes that largely got out the vote in Democratic areas. This is following him suppressing right-wing news.
They couldn't find the largely Democratic part. They couldn't find any impartiality in his donations. And yours is like, hey, use your mind. And
Georgia goes blue for the first time
right?
in
You have to
forever,
respect your own opinion. I'm still going. You have to respect your own opinions and use your own logic. But like, without any evidence, you just say, nah, the evidence that you gave me, 3 Republicans saying that it was good, I think it's wrong.
I guess it just comes out like, can you just not look at a behavioral pattern and infer without having to defer your like almost permission to believe to an election official or to a politician? Like, can you not just look at A, then B, then C? He states he wants this party to win. He donates $400 million to an important swing state that results in that state going blue for the first time in forever. He depresses information that's bad for his favorite candidate on his platform, which he's now admitted, and he has admitted to regretting ever since he's now a fucking MMA guy or whatever. Like, you can just look at what someone does, see the consequences of that, and then use your mind, your rationality to go, who stood to gain from this? Who stands to lose from this? And you can infer what he was trying to do. He was trying to get to make sure Trump wasn't elected again.
See, I do that sort of thing all the time, but I'm wrong all the time when I do it too. So I try to look in a little deeper and see what's up and look for some actual facts, look for some actual people who dug into this. Because like the other day I heard that this a few weeks ago, Asheville had fewer first responders because when the Democrats didn't like police, they lost their police force. And I heard that and thought, this is a silly head talking. So I looked into it. Like, really, Asheville has fewer cops now because of the Floyd riots? They do have fewer police now. Mm-hmm. And I just thought like, that was probably bullshit. No one they didn't get defunded. They just didn't rehire the cops that quit or something. I don't know. But there are fewer cops than there were before.
Did their budget change, I wonder? And if so,
I don't want to get it wrong. I think it didn't change, but they had they weren't able to backfill the spots. You'd think easy,
I would be curious as to how the budget like surplus was reallocated to, or who above them. Like, is it one of those Michael Scott situations where if you get a surplus, you get a percentage of it if you're right above them, and it's to their higher ups to shrink them down?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know about the defund the police thing anyway. On one hand, when I see those police forces that have, I don't know what they're called, MRAMs or something, giant armored personnel carriers, and it's like a small country. I've seen them before, like in small country sheriff departments. They'll have armored personnel carriers, and it's like, dude, I paid for that shit. What? No, I don't think it's cool. Shouldn't have that.
They didn't lose funding. They are currently budgeted for 238 cops, and they have 146, 39% vacancy. Crazy. They have the budget for it. They're just not hired for some reason. And it sounded crazy to me, but
yeah, again, I'd want to know where that surplus goes. Like,
me too. Yeah. The whole thing sounds shady. I'm sorry. I think I cut you off, but it was just my example of like, when I hear, we lost half our police force, or 39%, because of the George Floyd riots, I think that sounds like bullshit, right? How many cops just quit their job? Turns out 39% of the ones in Asheville. And I'm sure some of those were like near retirement and such.
I saw some other whole police department somewhere like retired, or not retired. They quit. Like the sheriff and everybody quit. You see that happen every now and then when they've got some real gripe with the city council or whatever.
Yeah,
I like it when they get when they're like fired. Like sometimes
I like it when they're fired.
Yeah, it's corrupt cops is what I'm talking
of course,
about. Every once in a blue moon, they find out that like the whole atmosphere of this place was like these guys were a street gang being paid by the government, by with taxpayer money, and the town's better without these cops. And every once in a blue moon, they go down. I don't know if they wholesale replace everyone or if they just decide not to have a police department in a tiny town.
Like a week or two ago, we were talking about Europa, that moon of Jupiter's where they might have the oceans of water, and hoping they would send a mission to it. The mission left last week. It'll be there in 7 years.
I'll still be here. All right, I probably.
So it's not landing though. It's making it's doing a close orbit, but it's going around and around it like 50 times or something. And I think maybe it's
who launched it? Is it a SpaceX or a NASA?
NASA. SpaceX doesn't do exploration. They do commercial.
I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson. I never get
you got it.
Did I? That's sweet. I'm really happy. Saying like SpaceX has never done anything that NASA didn't do. And in terms of like cost saving stuff, SpaceX is leading the way. They're reusing rockets, and that's really cool. And cost savings can lead to more missions, which is matters. So NASA hasn't focused enough on saving money, but when it comes to like really pushing the limits, has SpaceX been as far as the moon?
No, I don't think they haven't
just low orbit stuff, right?
Yeah. It's been more about the reusability and that vector thrusting stuff. Dude, I saw a video the other day. The camera was underneath the rocket, and it's a bunch of port outlets or whatever, where each one of them's an individual rocket or whatever. And the way they could move was incredible. Like they had so much gyration, like coordinated or uncoordinated. Like they were jiggling and doing all sorts of stuff. It was really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Rockets are cool. I want to see one in person. Have you seen a big one in person? Anyone?
When I was a little kid, we were in Florida, and we were like at that little strip where you could kind of see where they were. It wasn't even a launch day. It was, we went by it so we could see what was going to launch. And I remember thinking like, that's so scary. Like imagine being on there, and like, I just pictured like sitting there in that weird, like perpendicular to the earth's surface chair and just being launched with more power than you can ever imagine into the skies, and hoping that you don't blow up like all those teachers.
Just the one.
Teachers suck at space travel, though. No one's ever done it successfully.
They were like, it's easier to teach you to be an astronaut than it is.
He's an astronaut, how to be a teacher.
I picture them to be really large, these rockets, and to just take a skyscraper and launch it into space is a pretty neat accomplishment for mankind.
I'm hoping that like even if SpaceX isn't doing the full like out there Europa exploration, the reusable rocket thing has got to be the most incredible boon to getting more stuff out there.
Well, NASA will pay SpaceX to like move their stuff. That's what the deal will be. Like
whatever gets more stuff out there though is pretty sweet.
Yeah, being able to lift more weight, just more weight.
I want to see more information about like Mars, more about Europa, these moons, not planets.
Because what he's doing is providing internet access everywhere, which is actually pretty cool too.
That's
but
cool. He's got a lot of projects. Half
it's
of them are
different cool.
gay. You know.
Mars fucking sucks, dude. The more I learn about Mars, the more I hate Mars.
You were all about Mars, and
there's nothing we can do. It's done. It's dead. We need to go so far into the future that we can build a magnetic shield for Mars. That's genuinely what it needs. And they're like, yes, it could be done in this manner. And it's like, shit, we're not ready to do that yet. That's like 100 years away. It's like it needs its own magnetic shield or any kind of water atmosphere that we grow down there create just gets washed away by the sun. And
I think you're on
rays.
the money with your Jupiter moon thoughts. Like those
I want
gotta be.
Yeah, I want to know what's in it. They just found a new moon that's a moon of Uranus called Miranda.
Oh my God, also, we're not even at Jupiter yet. Do you know how much further that is?
It's so much further, dude. Dude, it is so much further.
The planets, they're all at least as a kid, I always thought they're all kind of equidistant. No. You know, that's the way it goes. And then you look at the actual measurements, and it's like, oh man, Jupiter's so far away. What is that? A billion jillion miles? Made up numbers to me. And then it's like, all right, how much further is Uranus? Oh, three times further than that made up number.
A pentillion miles. That's a number.
I think we've only
a million yards.
I think we only went by Uranus once with one of the Voyagers or something like that. Did some laps around.
Uranus is a gay planet. Didn't have it. Let's just go straight to Neptune.
Whenever they, but they said there's a moon on that called Miranda, I think, that also would have water, oceans.
You'd think it'd be really far from the sun. It must be that flexing motion, that
flexing or
thermal heat
or radiation. There could be nuclear stuff decaying in there, creating heat. That happens naturally too.
I wish that my knowledge was deep enough to explain it, but they found life deep in Earth, like below the crust in the molten part where you'd think life couldn't survive. And it has revamped their expectations for where life might be in space.
See, that's cool. I like when they figure stuff out like that, because then we can find more. And also, not to overlook the bottom of the sea. We need to fully investigate the bottom of the sea. See what the hell is going on down there.
I found your article. Scientists have found microbial life deep within the Earth's crust, with the record for the deepest life being around 5 kilometers below the surface or continents and 10.5 kilometers below the ocean floor, indicating a vast, deep biosphere where organisms survive in extreme conditions primarily by utilizing chemical reactions within the rock to sustain themselves. This life is primarily composed of bacteria and archaea. I don't know what archaea is.
I don't either.
I'm sure it's some sort of.
That sounds cool though. I need to lean into the space stuff the way you have, because every time I get suggested a video about the vastness of space or the moons and planets out there, I always leave. And also, I'm usually pretty fucking high when I watch these, but I'm like, damn, this is so sick. And I also have almost a feeling of fear where I'm like, oh, what would I feel like if I was out there? What if what if I was the first person or one of the first people born on a moon like that? Like, what would your conception of reality even be? It would be so distanced. Would religion be compelling to you? Would any of the norms we have here be compelling? Would you think totally differently about resource attribution? Like, what you would develop totally differently, physically and mentally, just based on not being here.
What, you're some kind of pod person from Mars? What are you talking about?
Or from Titan or whatever, or Europa.
There's no people in there.
There would be strife between different planets, between a moon and a planet. Like intra cosmic political wars would happen.
That would be interesting, honestly. If we
would be so much one would be so much more fruitful and easy to live in, that place would have a huge advantage. It'd be like America versus Ethiopia. Like, oh yeah, there's strife between Earth and its moon. Yeah. I mean, kind of.
You don't know, man. Ethiopians go hard. Yeah,
I guess it'll have to be just a horrible situation.
They're rowing their way through space toward us.
I don't know what Ethiopians are up to. I see videos of their food.
Shit.
I don't like it. I do not like the way their food looks.
On Reddit, they'll be like, "Ooh, my grandma fixed an Ethiopian feast for us all," and I'm like, damn, I feel like Jan at that Diwali celebration, just eating naan bread.
Yeah. You see some of I'm watching so many survival videos right now about bushcraft, people that go out in the wilderness and they do all this stuff. And I was literally thinking the other day, I'm like, man, I bet Woody would be a good guy to talk to about this. This seems like the kind of thing he knows a thing or two about.
I'm not an expert. I do have watched the same videos that
we've watched the same one.
Yeah,
I watched one with this dude, like, and he's like, it's the same, like the sweet Mormon guy who like goes out there and is exploring and everything. And he was with this African tribe, and he was like clearly putting on like the happiest face, but he's like, we're going to eat dinner with the Magubi tribe today in Kenya. They're bringing it out. And he's like, now this here is a cornmeal that you mush into a paste in your hands. You reach into the communal bowl and mush it up in your hands. And then you dip this paste into a sauce, and then you suck it all off your hand. And I'm like, this is so much worse than like the lasagna you have in a freeze-dried bag right there. Like, this is gross. Do you know why like Ethiopian food didn't take off? You know why there's not like, oh, an Italian place, an Ethiopian place? It's like, no, it's because the food doesn't look that good.
Dude, another genre you might enjoy, the campers. It sounds boring, right? But a guy will be like, hey, I bought the warmest sleeping bag on earth. Now, I happen to live here north of Toronto, and I'm going to go camping on the coldest day of the year. It's negative 45. Fahrenheit, Celsius, doesn't matter. They're about the same at negative 45. Yeah. Negative 45 degrees that night. And he's got this sleeping bag that makes him look like, I don't know, a caterpillar or something. It's ginormous. You don't even realize how big this bag is until you see his tiny little face dwarfed by the enormity of this giant sleeping bag. He doesn't have a tent. He just has a tarp that he puts on an angle and sleeps under that. It's snowing out. He collects so much heckin' firewood. He has a lot of gear that he brings, so he drags it in his sled. And oh my gosh, I wish watching this video burnt half as many calories as making it did.
I think the same thing when I'm watching him. What's the name of this guy so I can watch it? Because I'm really liking this content right now. If you remember.
I will look up this particular video because I enjoyed it. You might enjoy the cooking aspect of it too. A lot of these camping videos, they eat well. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm bringing dehydrated shit I had boiling water to. These guys have filet mignons and like dope food. So I'll find it.
That's king level camping. But yeah, I cannot get enough of like the bushcraft camping style content, especially the guys who go in and like the primitive stuff is really cool. Like that one guy, Primitive Technology, you see him do it all where he's like smelting his own ore and all sorts of stuff. And that's really neat. But I also like the guys who aren't like putting on those airs, not out of arrogance, but they're just like, you know what, I'm going out and I'm going camping. And then they'll bring out semi-normal equipment or like semi-normal food rations as they're doing it. And that's easier to self-insert for me because I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I would need that amount of stuff too. I'm not some wilderness expert. And then just same with anything, they'll make the expert will make a claim where he's like, so something important to remember is I built this dugout, but you don't just want it to be a dugout straight in. It wants to be the wind is going to come in off this frozen lake, which means that if I don't build a milieu, a path perpendicular to the entrance, that wind is going to get pushed in there. And I'm sitting there watching high, like, yeah, you got to have that. You got to have that. 100%. I would have done the same. That's like, no.
So I've been hiking and I've been moto camping, and in both spaces you're really weight sensitive and space sensitive. Even if something was light like a pillow like that, I don't have room for that. This guy brings this sled and a pole saw, and he's doing serious work. I'm the fire guy. Every time I go camping, I just find myself in the role of fire master. I don't brag well, but I'm really good at it. Like,
I believe you.
I will. We're gonna have more fucking wood than we need. If you don't back up from my fire because it's too hot, I've failed, and I want that all night long. Well, this guy came from the Woody school of making fires. He's chopping trees down, big like 6-inch, 8-inch trees, and I don't want to spoil it, but like this fucker's got enough. When I thought he had enough wood, he kept going, and I'm like, I like this guy's style.
This is half hour. I'm going to watch this entire video after this because I've been loving this content so much.
If you're going to watch some stuff, I also recommend my guy that I linked there. That's John Michael Gaudier. He's my space guy. He's like an author and a futurist, and he's got an interesting background. But the main thing is he's got a really smooth voice. and his videos are often about cosmology and I don't know, alien life and sort of imagining what if. Lots of that.
I have it open, and I will save it. But
I fall asleep to John Michael
year first.
There's two things I fall asleep to these days. It's either John Michael Gaudier or it's thunderstorms, angry thunderstorm videos. I have to sign out of my YouTube for that though, or it just ruins the algorithm. YouTube thinks you like listening to thunderstorms. And it's like, bro, like my whole page.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. YouTube
cosmology.
Watch later. I've been using YouTube's watch later functionality. Maybe everyone does this, and I
never use that.
Dude, there's 3 dots under every video. You put it in watch later, and sometimes I see something that appeals to me, but I don't want to bookmark it, and it just goes away. It never gets suggested to me again. I have a list of 6-8 watch laters all the time.
Yeah, I like the survival stuff too. I would like to see what I like is solo survival with primitive tools, but I don't want to see them like smelt metal. Like you should have your own saw, dude. You should have a gun.
That's pretty cool though, isn't it? Like the primitive technology guy who
honestly
sifts through all that iron rich water and mud, and he gets he makes it into ore.
A hat on a hat.
Pulls the frills out of it. But it's not a hat on a hat if he doesn't have other tools.
I don't need to see him make it because I myself would never be in a part of the fun for me, I suppose, is imagining like, yeah, maybe if the world fell apart, I'd need to know how to make a cabin or a tent or a lean-to or a fire, but I'm never
nice
going to run out of steel
with your no tools.
You know what I think I like? I like watching people who are competent and working really hard. Mm-hmm. And both of the styles you guys are talking about fit that. My guy with the pole saw and the what I thought were over the top amazing meals for camping. He was really good at what he did, and he's more to Kyle's style where he had some tools. Yeah. But the dude who I don't know, builds his own hot tub by clawing the ground with his fingertips. That's amazing too.
Yeah, that's just.
I will say, and I'm not saying it's the videos that you guys watch, but a lot of those guys that copied the primitive tech,
the Philippine style, guys, you gotta avoid. They're
fake. They're so fake. Yeah,
yeah.
Wait, they do lots.
There's words again. Philippines is good or bad?
Philippine guys. Bad. There's a couple channels of guys from the Philippines that totally lie about all this stuff. There's like heavy machinery tracks in the background, and it's like, get real. I want to see. And this guy you suggested, Xander, this is wild because literally last night I borderline ran out of content on the Mormon guy's channel, and Xander was suggested. And so just last night I spent like an hour and 40 minutes watching him survive for 5 straight days in the rainforest. And just like the blasé nature of things that would freak me out, where he's like, I'm not cleaning this out for fun. It's because I got to scare all the scorpions, and I'm like, yeah, you better scare the scorpions. And then he'll get stung or get bit, or a problem will occur. And whereas I would imagine myself in a complete collapse scenario, he's like, you know what? It's been overall a good day. I've probably got 7 ounces of water in me. I've got this 4-ounce fish, and it's going to be a delicious dinner. And I'm like, you look so hungry. So yeah, this guy Xander seems
I like him.
Guy. I
like him. I hope you like the video.
Watch him regularly. Is he one of your go-tos for this genre?
I've watched him twice. So this isn't a genre that I've been as into as you, but it was in the last 2 weeks.
There's also this guy. It's even further away from the camping thing. He's like a homestead guy, like the Lone Wrangler or something like that. And he that's not right, but something Wrangler.
It's not Wranglestar.
Wranglestar, yes.
I know him, yes.
And so he does the videos where he there's no auspice of, wilderness. He's like, I need to irrigate this farm I'm trying to make. How do I go about it? And he's not always an all-knowing content creator kind of guy. So you'll just see him be like, I was thinking, and if I use this size pipe and I do this and that, and I maneuver and I create this, that could work. And then he'll do it and it'll fail, and he'll be like, all right, well, what I learned from this is that you can't have the pipe be this round, or the pressure is insufficient to actually spray to all the different areas of the garden. And so I enjoy that as well.
Mhm.
Seeing someone who's really handy and good with that stuff, just apply problem solving, is fascinating.
It's been a while. I used to watch his content a lot, but that was like 8 years ago. So he's OG, the guy you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
He got into some like gimmicky stuff. Like he'd just take DeWalt and Milwaukee Impact drivers and have them fight.
I've seen a ton of that guy. I've seen these videos. Can I just say, like, all right, so that's probably not the end, like, say all, be all, whatever, for tests. It's like, the DeWalt lost. Don't use the DeWalt. It's like, well, wait a minute. Does that replicate like real world usage scenarios?
That predictive value
is that applicable? But on the other hand, it's like, I don't know, man. That one died. That Milwaukee's still alive after all that. You know,
you're right. Like, I just need a little more in the testing. Like, for example, put it on the top of the stairs and knock it down. Like, I'm going to be doing that. That's a more likely way that I break a tool.
Lots of dropping. Lots of
That's a
dropping.
good test.
You want to wrap? I got some stuff to do.
Yes, I got a taste steak to make.
All right. Oh, enjoy that. Okay, PKN 433.
You gotta get a sous vide.